Good morning, pregame crew. It is Wednesday, October 26, 2022, 8:24 a.m. Eastern, 6:24 a.m. Mountain Time. Welcome to the pregame show. I'm coming on just a little, not really late because I'm still early, but I'm late for the early, if you know what I mean. I just wanted to build up a little anticipation. Here at the pregame show, what we do here is we go over indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day, 25 charts in 25 minutes, and my goal is to get you ready for the trading day. I wake up every morning, all the puzzle pieces are thrown on the floor, and I got to put the puzzle together, and we help each other form a plan for the day. Let's do an audio visual check. Thank you, Night Truck. Dubai. I was just talking about Dubai last night. That is one place I am interested in going. Hey, Madison Kathleen, and my friend Night Truck, Rachel, Bobo, Wave. How are you, Wave? I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, Andre Basque. Hey, Lori, Mal, Sam, Andre, ER, Casey, Lisa, Trainman Greg, Paul, Luciano. Good morning. For those of you who are not members of TCG, did you enjoy the open house yesterday? Did you get a chance to tune in? Hi, Ludovic. Omar, because of earnings. NASDAQ, Google, and Microsoft had earnings last night, and they both missed. Not on both the top line and bottom line. I forget which one had a miss and which one had a beat on earnings. I can't remember, but both of them essentially had a miss, and then their guidance was real soft, warning about the dollar being strong and cost of transportation and yada yada. Hey, Bennett. Hey, Wiz. Chris. Okay, I will go over NASDAQ, which is the same QQQ. Thanks, Roger. Hey, Phil in Greece. I do an S&P and NASDAQ every day, Mark. Yeah, BA did have a big miss, Slow Devil. If you look here at the top, I go over ES and I go over NASDAQ first thing in the morning. Let's look at QQQ. The QQQ is farther away from yesterday's high due to earnings. So bears will be looking to top fish against yesterday's high of day 28460. Let me mark that level. 28460. I don't know why I'm using the yellow lines today, but let's just roll with it, okay? Let's just go with it. The lower high is anticipated on QQQ. Your support is the low of yesterday, 27790, which kind of matches up with your pre-market low. Let's that off. 1 second. Oh well, you get the picture. So QQQ lower high expected on that 4 hour. Oh, good, Andre. I'm glad you liked it. Sweet and assertive. I rarely get that in one sentence. Yes, short bust. The break of yesterday's low would start daily consolidation. Hey, Gareth. Hey, Diego. Let me go back up. S&P, NASDAQ. So I will do ES in just a minute. ES has more room to work with for a potential 4 hour higher high, but considering how much distance NASDAQ has away from its overnight high, I would feel comfortable shorting ES, but of course NASDAQ short has more higher likelihood of succeeding because NASDAQ is weaker. But it's going to be a tall order for ES to get over 387425, but we've seen them melt up now for days. I mean, all last week we had a bull week. So I think shorts got overly complacent and bulls have been able to full court press them. It doesn't mean that we've made significant changes in trend until we change the weekly trend. The weekly is the most important. The weekly 200 MA provided us the best clue. And now, are people going to exit stage right before Apple and Amazon earnings tomorrow and Meta earnings today and PCE Friday? Remains to be seen. I can tell you, VIX continues to provide the best clues for me in the morning, the absolute best clues. It is, yesterday we had that bear flag here. This was yesterday morning. Look at that. It was perfection. and it played out again. Now we're going slightly sideways. It's not a textbook bear flag on the 4 hour, super flat. We are breaking bull out of this. If we don't get a lot of follow through, it's just another bear flag. The problem is now we're oversold. When we were up here on that hourly bear flag, we had room. We had room to the downside. We don't have a lot of room to the downside on VIX, which gives me more of a bear lean today. You did, Hunter. You did ask about it. You want ADA? John, y'all are funny. I wonder why my daughter is up so early. Is it nail day? Okay, ADA ran into the daily 50 MA overhead. It did squeeze a few shorts yesterday. We rejected at that 50 MA. Don't forget that level. Your support 3984, 3946. Your resistance 4109 and then 43 cents. If you look at it on the 4 hour, odds favor a 4 hour lower high compared to 43 cents, and then that we would continue to tighten. Crypto has, I used a word I've never used this morning. Crypto is having a bull-tastic morning. It was the only word I could think of. Beyond fantastic, a bull-tastic day. So as long as crypto remains strong, ADA could have more lift, but we have 4 hour lower high, the more likely scenario. So we could have some consolidation come in. Gareth, I try to sit on my hands the first 30 minutes of the market open. That is my goal. Let me look at, it's 6:31. Let's get started. And if it's a juicy setup, I'll allow myself to play the open. But for the most part, I sit on my hands the first 30 minutes. I don't know if you've heard the saying, but the saying goes that amateurs open the market and professionals close it. So that's why I personally have seen a ton of misdirection at open, so I sit on my hands. All right, good morning. Welcome to the pregame show. This is who I am. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, I'd greatly appreciate it at ChartGuyLori. Check us out on chartguys.com. And what we do at Chart Guys is we teach technical analysis. We have a community of almost 1,100 of my closest friends, and we post setups all day, and we communicate in the marijuana channel, the commodities channel, uranium channel, crypto channel, constantly sharing setups and sharing technical analysis tips and tricks. That's what we do. And what I do here is I go over indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day. So I have notes on the other screen that I will be using to guide me today. When I'm done, I will copy and paste those for TCG members. If you're interested in my chart setup, what are those yellow candles mean? You can click on the PDF explanation below in the video description to receive a copy of what is on Lori's charts. And there's also a YouTube video, how to set up your chart like Dan or Lori. So let's start out with Hang Seng. The Hang Seng was green overnight, 1%. DAX is somewhat flat, and I'm actually shocked that DAX is flat and slightly green considering Microsoft and Google. If you just look at Microsoft and Google in a vacuum, what did I just get filled on? Oh, let's stop. Sorry about that. Get back to where I was. EMPH did kill it on earnings. And yes, ES is somewhat the same. SPX is cash settled, ES is futures. And you will find most of the seasoned, experienced traders will tell you that ES futures provide the direction of the market. Because SPX is cash settled, it's not looking to the future where ES is. So I am shocked just looking at Microsoft and Google in a vacuum, just those two, and how they missed on earnings and the bearish reactions that the DAX is green. We are red, and NASDAQ is weighing heavily on our markets. So again, I have my notes off screen, and I also did this weighting this morning. Let's just walk through this. This is something I am refining so I can communicate a little more objectively with you. It's hard sometimes for me to explain to you the weighting I'm giving. When I start putting the puzzle pieces together, well, how important is that puzzle piece? The weekly trend is still in favor of the market bears. The daily trend for most indices is and most of our major names are in daily uptrends. 4-hour uptrends. Hourly trend favors the bears in some cases. Well, yeah, because we just lost that support, so I'm going to leave that as is. Volume, no clue there, not getting any clues. Key long-term moving averages, we held the weekly 200 MA on ES, which was key for me. I'm not seeing any bull or bear divergence in RSI or RSI patterns. And I would say we do have that ES daily inverse head and shoulders here. Look at the daily. We can see that inverse head and shoulders broke bull. And we have the daily 50 MA overhead. So I'm giving this weight the weekly 200 MA, but I am noting that we are below the daily 50 MA. We're knocking on it right there with ES, and NASDAQ is below it. Dollar 4-hour is oversold. The dollar has had extreme weakness overnight, and that helped bounce the market, but it was a weak bounce. However, we're 4-hour oversold on dollar. Let's look at dollar. So we've lost this weekly support here of 110.05. We lost it overnight by 10 cents and we're bouncing. So bulls are buying this as if 11 cents. They're buying this as if it's a double bottom, something to make note of, and we haven't technically lost the 8 EMA yet. The 4-hour got oversold and they're buying this like a double bottom. For me, that is something that favors the market bears because of potential bounce in the dollar as to where we are. VIX inverse relationship, daily lower high possible, that helps market bulls. If we go look at VIX, a daily lower high is the more likely scenario. That is good for market bulls. But are we beat up enough down here, 4-hour just now crossing oversold, to actually get a bounce going? A 4-hour lower high is still the more likely scenario. That's good for market bulls. I don't know if this is helping anyone. I hope so. US 10-year, it favors the market bears that they're trying to do an hourly trend change here. They are pretty beat up. But if we get over 4.079, that's a trend change, and that favors market bears. Bitcoin favors market bulls. Is Bitcoin our canary here? They have been running hard. What are they doing right now? Still up, just really squeezing shorts over there. Okay, TLT. That daily 8 EMA is still overhead on ZB and on TLT. I have a trade for you. Oh, good, Samwise. All right, so I have a trade set up for you. On ZB, do you see this 8 EMA has been resistance since Jesus was a baby back in August for days and days and days? We have a 4-hour trend change. Bulls have not been able to pull that off. I would call that a double top. They have not been able to pull that off for a while. So we do have a 4-hour trend change. So for me, I'm looking for first 5-minute oversold on TLT for a trade. So if you notice here on TLT, I have my little orange triangle there. That's my alert. First 5-minute oversold on TLT. That is a high risk trade setup, high probability of getting stopped out, but nice risk to reward trade idea. So I like TLT. Okay, I'm going to stop with this here. Apple favors market bulls, QQQ market bears, and semis favor market bears. All right, let's take it from the top. 1, 2, 3, kidding. So we look at 4-hour on ES. We have support at 3822. A lower high is anticipated compared to 3874. Will we tighten within this pattern? Or will meaningful consolidation come in before Meta's earnings after hours? Meta had a bearish article come out today. We have Amazon and Apple earnings. And remember, Apple is the king, is the absolute general. Apple earnings are more important than everyone else. So it's going to be really important to see what Cook has to say tomorrow after hours and how it impacts the market. Will we have more meaningful consolidation ahead of that PCE? Key inflation data Friday morning. So ES, here are your levels. It's all the bright yellow ones if you want to screenshot that. NASDAQ, here are all your levels if you want to screenshot that. 4-hour lower high is anticipated compared to the high we made right before earnings, 11,734. Y'all, it's hard to get bullish the market when NASDAQ is weak and semis. When NASDAQ and SMH are tag teaming Team Bear, it's hard to be bullish. I'm not saying we can't bounce today. These are just two very important charts for us, NASDAQ and semiconductors, and they are weak this morning. All right, RTY. I don't know what made me think of this. I can't play it for y'all. God, if I could play music, we would have such a fun time, but I can't because of copyright. But this song came to mind. No hands. RTY is like, look at Ma, no hands. We can just drive this market all by ourselves. It got a 4-hour higher high without any help from ES. Dow got a double top here. It's a little bit weaker than RTY, but look at RTYs. They're doing waka flocka, no hands, all higher. So I would not be picking on RTY to the short side today. I would be looking at NASDAQ names or semiconductor names to pick on. This is super strong. So let's look at some levels. And they are over the daily 50 MA. Look at that. They are over the daily 50 MA. So your next resistance is 1825 and 1830. If IWM bulls could get through those key resistances from September 20th, that would be very notable. We're getting these small higher highs without a lot of follow through. So bears are looking for the potential for a rising wedge, but right now RTY is driving this bus. Thank you, John. Thank you. Yes. Oh, good. KVQ and Trainman. Awesome. Okay, so look at YM. We're well over the daily 50 MA. It's like, this is easy. This is easy peasy. And this ain't no rising wedge. This is a series of higher highs and higher lows. Always question yourself. If you're constantly calling something, get over here and let me ruin this chart, I guess. If you're constantly calling a pattern a rising wedge, what is a rising wedge? It's a series of higher highs and higher lows. So be sure that you have the right angle. When it is a very acute angle to the upside, that's just a series of higher highs and higher lows. And look at that. That is not a rising wedge. Now let's look at IWM. You see how it's more gradual? It's not as steep. These higher highs are just struggling up here, making those higher highs. I think I have another chart for you if I'm recalling correctly. Look at this. Okay, well, of course, oil, you're going to make me a liar. But you see these tiny higher highs that oil has been getting without a lot of follow through? If you remove the current candle, that is that angle that you're looking for rising wedges. When you first start trading, it's so much fun to identify patterns and constantly cram patterns in a square peg into a round hole. Be more acutely aware of price action. What is price doing? Higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. That tells you a lot more than any cute pattern you can draw on that chart. That may have been my nugget for the day. Let's see if I can beat it. I don't know. Okay, we did that. YM has a double top. Boeing missed this morning in a big way, a $2 billion charge off. So that could weigh on the Dow and on industrials. 31764 is your next support, then 31744. There is this obsession with ENPH that I just can't understand. I guess because it had such a exponential move up that people enjoy looking at it. I don't get it, but what do I know? So we had the hourly bear flag back here on VIX, and that resolved to the downside beautifully. Well, now we have a potential 4-hour bear flag forming, but we are oversold. So I'm looking for a steeper bounce off of this on VIX, and that could be a headwind for the market. Can you tell I have a bearish lean today? Went over all that. Bitcoin is singing waka flocka, no hands, we don't need you. Is Bitcoin a canary? Is Bitcoin signaling to the rest of the market and RTY, our riskiest asset classes, saying we're big old bulls, so just do you, technology, but we're going to shift the narrative, I guess. Support 20136, 19979. I read a statistic this morning. 1 second. Bitcoin rally above $20,000 triggers over $800 million in liquidations. That is a lot of liquidation. So this has been a pretty big short covering rally. Bennett. So we have an hourly higher high, higher low anticipated with the size of this move. If you're a Bitcoin bear, don't be overly anxious to get ran over. Trust me, you can get ran over lots of other places, but right now, crypto is just not the area I'd be looking to short. If I had to take a position in crypto right now, I would be a more conservative bull waiting for consolidation to establish a position in these uptrends that are forming. Ethereum, Waka Flocka, no hands, hourly, 8 EMA. As long as the hourly EMAs are below you, stay in long. So resistance 1557, and you have support at 147679. Can you imagine being my grown daughter listening to me right now talking about Waka Flocka and no hands? But I hardly ever digress and tell you personal stories because you're here for charts and your time is the most precious asset that you have. I will quickly tell you, my daughter, 6th grade, spelling, whatever. I volunteered at the school, which I never did because I was always working so much. That I volunteered to help this group study for the spelling test, and I brought them out in the hall. And one of the words was independent, and my daughter's INDEPEN. So that's how I raised her. So she's probably not shocked that her mom is talking about Waka Flocka. All right. Now, Ethereum strong. Did I give you that support? Yep. Gave you that resistance? Yep. Okay, gold. So on gold, what did I type about gold? Monthly downtrend, weekly downtrend. So they bought this weekly double bottom right here. They bought it as if it were a double bottom. It broke bare by just $1. A lower high is still anticipated compared to 1738. So this tells me that the dollar needs to get its bounce underway on the oversold conditions, let commodities consolidate a little bit. Volume. Volume is the difference between short covering and real buyers who want to buy. Maybe I will talk about that next week. I have some interesting new things I'm learning about exacting levels and buying versus institutional money. Maybe I'll get a chance to share that. So gold is in an uptrend. If you are a gold bug and missed this little bounce, I would look for a higher low compared to 1641. So compared to 1641, a pullback. And when you look at these 4-hour charts, I think I said that copper 4-hour chart's my least favorite 4-hour chart I've ever seen. Look at that. That's not a chart you take home to mom. That's ugly. So with this mess, this just tells me that we could be positioning for bigger moves, but we need the dollar to bounce, get the bounce out of the way. Man, this is strong. Copper is strong. You see that? Systemic Risk was calling this out to me earlier, that FCX was strong. Maddie's favorite name. Yeah, that looks like a little bull flag on FCX. Okay, back to gold. Gold bulls are waiting for a daily higher low bottom fish attempt against 1641. And aggressive bears are looking to top fish a bounce against 1679. Oil inventory report today. I thought I had a trade idea for you. I guess I don't. Inventory today makes it high risk. 87.14 and 87.12 are prior resistances. If we get up into that area, it could be a strong resistance. The more times that we tap on that level, we're removing the blocks of selling overhead, and it increases the chances that we could break through it. So on a pullback, a conservative bull could look to buy a pullback for a 4-hour higher low compared to 84.14, and the most aggressive bear is looking at shorting 87.20. This is the first time you've ever heard of Waka Flocka? Oh my gosh, Bennett, there's no way. As much as you like shaking your booty, you haven't heard of them? We got to talk, friend. Okay, looking for a 4-hour higher low compared to 511.9. They have inventory tomorrow. Nat Gas bulls really put some pressure on bears. They don't have a guaranteed higher low compared to 475, but they've increased their chances. But Nat Gas bulls want to see some increasing bull volume on this bounce, or it just increases the chances that the bears are just going to take back over. I just don't know that I would look to top fish 5748 on a bounce. Aggressive bear and more conservative bull is looking to possibly play an hourly oversold bounce, attempting to nail a potential daily higher low. God, again, so many political words I have to use to make sure I'm not speaking in absolutes. And I would encourage you to not speak in absolutes to yourself, that this Bitcoin is going to do X or Nat Gas will do X. Pretend like you're speaking to a crowd of, let's say 2,000 people see this video over the next 24 hours. Pretend like you're speaking to a crowd of 2,000 people. Would you put yourself out there and say, Nat Gas is going to $5, Bitcoin is going to 22,000, or don't speak in absolutes to yourself, even if it's an internal conversation, because you're setting yourself up for really fixed outcomes that are not necessarily guaranteed, because this is all a game of probabilities. Apple. Okay, Apple didn't get the memo that we're weak this morning. It is slightly red, but it's holding up better than most. I wouldn't be picking on Apple ahead of earnings as far as a bear. You have a support 150.20 and then 149.36. This is looking weaker than it did a few hours ago when I looked at it. I would not take a trade on Apple today. I wouldn't want to be a bear on it. And people may be a bear on it based on Google and Microsoft. And Microsoft is more closely related to Apple. And I wanted to show you this here. Google missed. Look who their cousin is. Google, Meta, Twitter, which I would be very careful with shorting Twitter with this deal closing pending. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but pending at 54.20. Match.com. Those are the cousins. I know when we think of technology, we think of Google, but it is in the XLC sector of the S&P. So these names could be more heavily impacted, like Meta. So Google missed on earnings. Meta has earnings after hours, and Meta had a bearish article. So you're probably going to guess that I'm going to pick on Meta today. And we'll wrap this up and land this plane shortly. Charting Man Dan will be live in 8 minutes for the room. All right, so Apple, no edge for me. What did I say? Amazon super weak this morning. Lower high anticipated against yesterday's high on any bounce. So I'm looking short Amazon. Nvidia, same thing. I'm looking short Nvidia against 133, anticipating, let's see, a daily lower high. So this looks just like semiconductors. It's just one big move up. We hit 133 yesterday. A daily lower high is anticipated compared to 13656. So I'm looking for a short on Nvidia. Tesla odds favor a daily lower high compared to 22982. I don't know that I want to pick on Tesla, but if this Twitter news continues to gain traction and finality, it could have a possible bear overhang on Tesla in the interim. Oh. Mark? I think Facebook has a great presence with women, especially older women. But from what I just told you, don't ever try hard not to speak to yourself in absolutes. Go back and look at the facts. What happened the last time? Let's see, February of 22 of this year. Look at that. That was a beating. Someone, if they bet against the Zuck, they won big, really big. And I know it happened in June of 2018. Where's it? 2018. Now I have to find it. Almost there. Here. How do I know? Because I was in a trade. I was in some options when I used to trade earnings. Oh, that's not what I wanted. 20% down. So be careful in speaking in absolutes that never bet against the Zuck. Well, people have bet against the Zuck and made a lot of money. And I hope they kill earnings because it's good for the overall market and people's IRAs and pensions if the market is in an uptrend. But right now, just breaking it down to just pure price action, an hourly lower high is expected compared to 13835. So shorting a bounce makes sense. CGC? Gotcha, Mark. Gotcha. So on CGC, I'm looking for the first 5-minute oversold on MARA and CGC. CGC had news yesterday. They have entered the U.S. space by taking on some company as a form of entry and exposure to the U.S. And MARA, of course, crypto is bulltastic. So both of these names, I'm looking for first 5-minute oversold back burner trade setups. Meta, I'm looking short. Oh, what was my other name? SMH. I didn't type it on my list. SMH. I'm looking, so same thing with Nvidia. We have this big push up, considering it one push. I'm looking for a lower high compared to 20471. And I'm looking for a top fish against yesterday's high, 19125. Okay, Rivian. Man, I've picked on Rivian a lot and I get stopped out, so I'm done picking on it. I'm over it. They had that big recall news and this candle here, and they recovered like a champ. They're here at the daily 50 MA. It's still overhead. Need a candle close above it. Your next resistance over the high of yesterday, 34.75, is 36.01. And your support, 33.50, and then 31.33. With the size of yesterday's move, I would look for, well, it already got oversold in after hours. I would look for first 15-minute oversold as a potential trade idea. XLF. Oh, it's Bennett. Of course you get it. Okay. Daily uptrend. We need to close over that daily 50 MA. I want to see the whole body of the candle over that daily 50 MA to feel better about it. You're in a zone of congestion at 33.10, 33.06, and yesterday's high, 33.07. And then your next resistance, 33.28. You want to see it take out yesterday's high as soon as the market opens. Then if it can't, that's a trade I'd take in the first 30 minutes. Is top fish 33.10? I would top fish that if it can't take it out as soon as the market opens. Because then you know you have some well, I shouldn't say relative weakness, but the odds, if you can't take it out quickly, the odds favor that the bears are going to step in and take over. I actually like that top fish idea, Bennett. XLF against 33.10. And then for a buy, for the long trade, man, I couldn't go long up here. This is the nosebleed section. I couldn't go long. XLE, weekly higher high. Daily inside bar, that's interesting. 87.83, you're above that right now. You have inventory today. So maybe, I know that you trade these two sectors. I think that you trade these two sectors primarily. I'd be careful trading XLE on oil inventory day. Daily inside bar, that sure is a pretty chart though. It's a pretty chart. I couldn't short it with this squeeze. Possible pullback buy against 86.73. Oh Lord, nobody would want to give me a whistle. Daily lower high anticipated on a RUM. All right, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for joining me. Please go hit the like button on the video. Go give me a follow on Twitter. My birthday is Monday, and this is all I'm asking for you is to get me to 4,000 followers. Could you? Would you? Please? It's free to you, and the show is free. I spend about 20 hours a week doing this show, preparing for this show, and all I'm asking from you is to hit that like button on the YouTube video, and then if you have Twitter, give me a follow at Charkaluri. All right. Thank y'all for being here. Use stop losses.